Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. And is this market retarded or what? I mean, I was convinced it could hold on to its gains yesterday, and the whole thing fell apart. Even though I was, yesterday's comments, just thinking, hey, you know what, it needs to come down here, make that lower high, lower low, and gap down yesterday. It held the pivots. We talked about the void above, and it went up there. As it got into the resistance area, you can see on the 15-minute chart, um, it made that retest pattern. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm a little slow this morning. Thank you. Um, It'll come up in a second. There you go. And I was talking about yesterday, yesterday, what part of my commentary was, look, with this pattern, I wanted to see this as a better setup. And of course, it doesn't have to do what I want. And I'm not sure in this crazy market if it's going to do it anyway. But we'll see. It came down to the pivot area down here, and it jiggled around for quite a while, for day trading point of view, quite a while. And it leaped up into the void and then did this. And on the 5-minute, it looks like a head and shoulders top, which we can show you. Oh, kind of not, kind of. Anyway, then it starts pulling back. And, the way this looked yesterday was a nice gap reversal, green bar, pushing deeply into the prior bar. And looking at all my thumbnails, I said, there's all these great looking setups. It's got to go higher. And lo and behold, sellers decided, I don't know if there was any news at that time, but unbelievably, kind of all the way back down to the low. And so here we've got this topping tail bar within this trading range. As you can see, it's just a trading range, just craziness back and forth. So this morning, it's opening up near this lower pivot down here. Down here, you can see there's bottoming action down there, that pivot low. And will it hold that? It shouldn't, right? When I say that, it's kind of questions like who the hell knows if it'll hold it or not. But it's gapping down as much as it is to that pivot. And I guess coming down to this 400 area, it'll be pretty good support. That's where I would think it's going to hold. The whole number. This has been a pretty large area of open interest. In puts and calls. So that'll probably should put kind of a stick in the mud kind of thing, just stall it there and it, moving down from the top of the range and close down to the bottom of the range. It should at least attempt to hold there, and we'll see if it moves around and we get that pattern of the lower high, lower low, and then if it begins to turn, and then of course at the end of the day today, sentiment, I don't think it's going to get, unless they really start loading up on put options. I don't think this is going to get down here to where we're going to have a buy signal from the internals. Breath will be deeper, and you got to wait to the end of the day because this was even lower yesterday. But then whatever kind of closing number there was, it lifted it up a little bit. So, but I don't know, this, again, unless we see numbers like put call ratio at the end of the day, 1.5 or better, I just don't see this coming down into those lower bands. And we'll have to wait, I think, until next week and Monday off, what happens. So the only thing that could possibly change that point of view is that it gaps down here and forms another big green bar, and buyers step up again. And you say, well, if they were so jolly yesterday and then whole thing falling apart, are they going to step up that aggressively? These loonies might, but we'll see. So it is what it is. We just got this whippy trading range. We'll see what it looks like, how it acts here today, as we always do. We know where it is at that next level. Oh, that's where it is. It's at that pivot. I'm hoping it comes down here. I'm hoping it comes down here and that doesn't hold. All right, so futures, you can see they're at the pivot here. And with a wide range bar moving down, while we could possibly have a narrow range go nowhere kind of a day, maybe Friday, weekend, whatever. That kind of a bar in this pattern typically results in that lower low. And the lower low is down here. And this one, historically, being this kind of whipsaw, immediate whipsaw thing, meaning it wasn't going down a while like this one was. And it was just like whipped down and back up again. And this time correction and this holding here for the moment, if it starts going down, that's unlikely to hold. And the most logical place would be down here. Now, will it get down there today? That would be a heck of a selling day. So it would be too big of a day, I think, to possibly get down to that area today, which then leads to, okay, where is credit spread? So last I looked, 39.80. 980. So this is this is a lot of numbers here. 39.85, 39.80, 39.80, 75 by 85. So being on the other side of this reversal and the whole number, that should be fine today. Russell, is my bias today lower? That would what I would like to happen. My bias could change from 1/2 hour to the next, depending on what's happening in this market. I would say this market had me believing it could hold on to the gain yesterday. And last week, there was a day similar to this. Maybe it was this day where I pointed out the head and shoulders top in the 5-minute. And lo and behold, it went all the way back down to the low of the day. And again, I said at that time, I'm surprised that it gave it all up. So why should I be surprised that it would give it all up again? Well, in part because this is still an uptrend. And, you would think at this point, being at the high of the day, if it's going to make an attempt to get through 4,200, that yesterday was the day to hold on to the gain. And then, today it starts going up, and that didn't happen. So it's crazy, kind of crazy. All right, Qs, that was up there. This was stronger. So really nothing terrible as far as this pattern. But again, it's a pattern that with this kind of a move, we talked about this kind of a vertical move, little semi-climactic, that this kind of a pattern historically makes a lower high, lower low toward an area of significant support, which is down here. So if it was down here next week, I think that would set up, once we have some kind of a reversal pattern, a decent buy setup. Now, I also pointed out yesterday, if you remember, and we talk about a lot of things, that the difference here on the weekly chart are these multiple bars up here. So coming down to this area next week, right, would not be, what I'm talking about is the combination of a lower high, lower low on the daily time frame, which that pattern looks like, it looks like this, like a normal pullback pattern on the weekly time frame. This is not your normal pullback pattern. This is sideways consolidation after a run up, and this was at the high of the week. It's supposed to resolve itself going higher, right? A base. And so we still need to see what's going to happen here today. Does it hold this pivot, hold that base and go back up again, which would seem crazy after yesterday giving back all the gain, but who's, maybe that's in the cards. So this is where the concept of bar by bar analysis keeps you might think you're like, schizophrenic, one day to the next, but the market's schizophrenic. We have a tool that keeps us kind of legit what's happening in the market versus like, okay, I think it's got to go down here. Well, look, if we get it gaps down here and there's a green bar bigger than all these bars, I'm going to say this thing's got to go up because that's the historical pattern. Now, if the next bar we come in here on Tuesday and we get this, I mean, come on. At some point, the craziness has got to stop. But that's the idea behind bar by bar analysis. It's at some point, range expansion bars, gap reversals. If it was to get a big reversal like that, we'd have to believe that it's going to go up. So, all right, let's move on. Okay. Same story, down here, trading range. Let's see if it goes lower. Topping tail so far, right there. Dow, we know, is just a giant mess. Terrible, terrible chart. Other than just saying, stay the hell away. Right? Just a big mess. It's a great example of indecision, of uncertainty and indecision. It's a great example of that. Probably one of the best I've ever seen. Getting a nice topping tail on the weekly time frame. Transports. Not a bad looking chart. Not bad looking at all. Right. That came down here. Some kind of a reversal, which we'll see next week. But, that's still bullish. There's still a lot of great looking charts out there. We just got this market to make up its mind. And this is what we've been talking about, folks. And for several weeks, we're saying this market is going to have a problem. If the 10-year holds here and starts moving up, and here, lo and behold, and one of the comments was, what's going to happen at this pivot? Does it get through it? And that could be what gets this market really moving down in a violent way. This breaking through this pivot, because at that point, anybody's thinking, oh, this is just, retesting support, coming up to resistance, it's going to roll back over again. If it breaks through here, I mean, how do you ignore that? And here, it is this morning. It's right up there. It's right up there. And of course, we have to see what the dollar is doing, which is that moving up. Well, it was higher. Now it's pulling back a little bit, but same story. But it's up. And while that's not a pivot, not marked as a pivot, because it's only got 2 bars to the left, you darn well know it. Bar with a tail like that as a resistance area. And you can see it's a pivot on that time frame. Yeah. We didn't look at the Russell, which, not a bad looking chart. coming down here, making a turn. But what has to happen, right? What has to happen for this to set up bullishly is this, when it hits here, reverses back down again. Then we have the intermarket relationship alignment to support thinking that, okay, the markets could go higher from there. We're going to see how it plays out. This coming down a little bit, right? No big deal there. This has to be going down, of course. It's getting closer to support, right? Interest rates getting closer to resistance, the dollar closer to resistance. This should begin to stabilize next week. And, support here, try to make a turn, assuming the dollar starts to move lower. And crude oil, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range. Right? So one of the things we'll be looking for next week, I'm sure you can see this head and shoulders top pattern. The lower shoulder. And sometimes when I see these, I think, okay, there's this head and shoulders pattern. And here's the neckline, yada, yada, yada. Right? Will it break down through here? Well, I don't know. We're going to see. But one thing to look for is sometimes these do this and it violently goes up because this is a distribution pattern. And so I've seen this fail. It's something you got to be watching out for. If it flips back up to get above that right shoulder, it's going to blast through here. And I don't think the markets are going to like that. So that's another one to keep an eye on for next week. And other than that, we'll see what Mr. Schizophrenic has in store for us today. All yours, Dan.
Hey, I don't like when you start off Mr. Schizophrenic and then turn it over to me.
It wasn't intentional, but now that you mention it, I think it was a lead.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what. All right. So my low alarm on Folt went off. But if somebody can verify this for me. So I looked at the level 1. Okay, it is. All right, I had a bad bid there. All right, never mind. Because I saw a bid at $19 and I thought we had a big gift on our hands. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. Let's go right to earnings. So my bias yesterday, I always give my bias into the close. We had an end of day decline. It was to short a morning bounce. Is provided it doesn't go to more than 40% into this end of day decline. That's our factory work. So now today's gap is just making this more extended. So I'm still looking for a tradable bounce, but that was an ugly 180 reversal. So yeah, I'm with Greg wanting those lower prices there. All right, earnings. Where are you? Well, I got a lot of stuff in here I got to clean out. I have a big watch list that we made yesterday that were bullish patterns. But the afternoon sell-off is going to make those alarms harder to hit. But we'll go through them again later and clean it out like always. AMAT, so these are earning stocks. I didn't do anything with that. The fact that it's up here to this resistance, 30-minute high would be a day trade idea. DLR, I don't see any prints. Ed, I'm moving up a little bit, little W bottom, retest on volume. That would be a beautiful 0 DTE put spread if there's any juice. Dash, gapping up. Nice weekly. Target maybe 75 on the weekly. It's just it's up too much. I'm on the daily now. AM 4670, a bearish gap. That's, I don't know, you just got to see when it wants to reverse. Hubs, this is the only earnings trade I gave subscribers. I did a couple more myself, but we sold. Well, we sell the 270 puts, I think. So that's going to be like just you can either let it expire worthless, stop yesterday's low, or I'm bidding a penny just to be done with it. You know, just earning stocks. You never know. They can make crazy moves. Bio, big rounding top here. I don't see any prints. CGNX $50 and bearish gap, but I don't have a bias now. Dropbox down a little bit, but this is a candidate. I'm going to set an alarm at 2420. This is a candidate for a breakout if it can negate the gap down. And that's something I learned with Greg through the years. Like, don't just think one-sided. Think of a pattern saying, hey, you know what? There's a new opportunity that you may not be thinking about right now with this bearish gap. You might say, oh, bearish gap down here, there's no pattern, it's trading range. But start getting in the habit of saying, what if it then takes out yesterday's high after this bearish gap down? Then this is a very bullish consolidation at the rising 20 with a bullish weekly monthly. You see that? So that just my alarm right there, 24. Well, I did 20. I really should have done it 24.10, but I'm not going to change it now. Don't see any prints, but that was a bullish close. Here's another one. I'm going to set an alarm at 65.10. This is almost identical to that other one. Same but different, as Greg says. Dropbox consolidation at the rising 20, bullish weekly monthly. This one looks great. I don't see any prints. I'm going to set an alarm at 65.05. That looks fantastic if it breaks out. Yeah, Patrick, I said I'm bidding a penny to get out or let it expire worthless with a stop yesterday's low. Dunking, nice little buy setup here, gapping up though. I was saying in the green room, I kind of just had a bullish bias on this into the Super Bowl. People like to bet. Here's another one. Now I'm going to set an alarm at 111.40. This is a little W pattern there with a price void. Now, say I could do this on my own, but I think you learn through the analysis of why I say yes, I like it. 30-minute high. I need more time to see what it does. All right, Texas Roadhouse. This is one that had it opened flat, then it's bullish daily, weekly, monthly, but now it's getting whacked on earnings there. So nothing to do now except maybe call spread. There you go, bottoming pattern. 208. Oh shoot, I wish the gap wasn't that big. I wish ideally it was just gapping up, you know, whatever, something over 200. But that's a nice bottoming pattern. Yes, wave. That's one I was trying to sell puts on myself yesterday, but they were too ridiculously spready. Here's another one, Lima Whiskey, set an alarm at 100.40. Thomas, yeah, it looks great. Can't tell where it's gapping. 140, alarm set. Other computer. And Glob, that's just a big glob to me, no interest. Here's one, if it can take out yesterday's high, slight volume. I'll set an alarm at 299. ASMD, no pattern. I see one print down. I got plenty to look at. Deer. This is one I shorter to put on. And I did it. It's actually a bearish daily weekly. So I know it's a little off of what we're used to, but I did it because of the insane premiums. I shorted the 372.50s. Look at that. Does anybody think Deere is going to gap down visually on the weekly this much? The weekly looks like horrible, but I just did it as a one-day earnings trade and it's paying off. I'm bidding a penny on that to close. Mr. Call spread. If it were 0 DTE, definitely. But it's actually bullish on a pullback daily, weekly, monthly. Look at the monthly W bottom. NWG gapping down, $7 stock. Yeah, give me the numbers. Yep, give me the numbers. Today is 0 DTE day, Friday. This no pattern, PPL, CMP. I see a couple prints up, but it looks like, I don't know, I got plenty to watch. CRBG, same, don't like the pattern. A little bitter Vic. Look, nice retest, 180 on the monthly. I'm going to set an alarm at 94.90. Oh, it's right there, 94.90 in my minder. So that's worth watching. Here, let me get rid of P-tone here. LBRDK. Well, Rich, you have absolutely no idea where it's going to open. You have no idea because of you're looking at closed markets. KNSL alarm. Okay, see, I set an alarm at 299. Now it's gapping up too much. ATR, same, gapping up too much. But you see, my analysis was dead on both of those. Disney, yeah. I mean, the market's, you might want to wait 5 minutes to see if the market's going to bounce, but yeah, I like it. Definitely. I'll put it in this middle. I know Greg mentioned that yesterday. Yeah, I put it in that window. Charlie Bravo, we held. Remember yesterday I said, I don't even want to take a third. I said, this looks lower and let's just make an intelligent decision and go for bigger gains. That looks good. Alpha November. I just fundamentally don't understand this run. Look at that. $100 to 150. Amazing. ABR gapping up, crazy kind of triangle consolidation, but see if it stabilizes in here. I'm looking for tier 1 trades. No interest, cap and resistance. That gives me a headache looking at. That must be a typo. Oh no, that was a bond related fund, I think. MMI looks like a short here, 30-minute low. All right, I got filled on my John Deere to penny. So I'm out of Deere. Let's see, Hubs. I'm not filled because I guarantee they got Well, I was gonna say that I guarantee they had 5 cent increments, but no, Hubs is still showing closing prices of yesterday. Mike Delta, possible big bottoming pattern gapping up here. So we'll come back to it. FBIN alarm, as you see there. FBIN. Ah, see, that was this one of the ones I said? If the alarm goes off and negates the gap, I forget. So that this tail up here hit my alarm, but still neutral right now. Come back to it. Yeah, Hubs is still showing closing prices.